pictures need no words. His photography is an unflinching view of the suffering that conflict can bring.
He's really led us in terms of an appreciation of conflict in particular. He doesn't like to be thought of as a war photographer, but just as a photographer.
He's usually labelled quite rightly as a photojournalist, a war photographer. But I see him more as a portrait photographer. You can see into the soul of that shell-shocked GI.
I'm drawn particularly to Don's work from the Vietnam War because some of his imagery really made us rethink, this was supposed to be a war for democracy and liberation, and in fact, looking at his imagery, you realize the extraordinary pain and suffering that it was inflicting on civilians, on bystanders, on American soldiers sent overseas. It was black and white, but the blood was very red. Don seems to photograph from within the personal space of other people. It's as if he can share their being. He intuits what's going on, he feels what's going on, and then his pictures resonate with that sense of intuition. There's a certain sense of kind of invasion when you make somebody's picture in agony. When they're in agony, you're sort of invading their space. Maybe they should be left alone. So if you're making an image, you have to kind of have a conviction that it can do something in the world. I feel pretty confident that a number of his images have made us and governments reflect on what are we doing to other people. It's not just looking at the suffering of others, but it's actually about all of us together causing this suffering and enduring this suffering, that we're all part of the same enterprise. To have that power and that effect on larger societies around the world and governments is a rare thing.
It stood the test of time, his work. It's as relevant today as it was when he took it, and it will be just as relevant in 100 years' time.
He is Britain's leading photojournalist. He is our leading documenter of conflict in every way, shape or form.
I think that Don needs to be celebrated for what he did in his era. And in doing so, I think we then have to ask ourselves the question, where are we going in the next era? Can we be affected by imagery the way that somebody like Don McCullin is able to affect us?
Perhaps that's enough said. His images do the talking.